it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Welcome to October 1982. Here are the latest video games. We were last playing Serpent on IBM PCs, one of the worst Snake variants you could play on any home computer. Let's see what's next, but first, what's on the TV?
Every great movie or great arcade.
Oh, it's that again! We've seen this commercial before. It means it's Tron. Once again, another Tron video game. You can see here Mattel is really trying to sell that Tron's coming home. It's that hit movie. And now you can watch it and play like that crazy kid that's obviously way too excited about Tron. This one is the 5th Tron game we're going to be playing here on the show after the arcade and the 2 Deadly Disc games and the handheld Tron. And it's as good as they say it is. This is Tron, Maze-a-Tron for the Mattel Intellivision. Let's see if this is like all the other Tron games, exciting and fun. Here's the box for Tron, Maze-a-Tron. Oh man, yeah, front of the box is awesome. It's very Tron-ish and Tron-y, even though we just saw Airlock where they're kind of ripping off Tron, but this is only on Intellivision. This is the 46th game we've seen for the Intellivision. That's how many games are out there right now. And for Mattel Electronics, we've seen 60 games. This is the 60th game that Mattel Electronics has given the world of video games. That's a lot of games. Let's flip it over the back. It includes a couple of screenshots because there's essentially 2 modes to this game. There's the auto-scrolling mode, and then there's where you face the MCP. You can see on the right picture. It's a game about computers played against a computer. Because this one you don't play with other people. It's single player only. I know, right, Marshall? Please don't ruin it for everybody. We're all excited right now because it's another brand new Tron game. All right, here's the box and any other artwork we have for Tron Maze-a-Tron. So Mattel Electronics has done 7 games on the Atari VCS and 40 for their own Mattel Intellivision. Oh man, look at that. And there's the overlay we're going to slide over our hand controller. Get your fingers and thumbs nimble, ready on the disc. This one doesn't have too many things on it. All it has is the 1, 2, 3 stop and practice. That's really all you need. But you still kind of need help with the overlay. There's our Mattel Intellivision. Get your controller set, but remember, you only need one. This is 1 player only. And the cartridge we're going to pop into our Intellivision. Oh man, I'm so excited. A brand new Tron game. Yes, Tron. I mean, 5 games already, and this year is the year it came out. We are saturated with Tron. It's like we're going to turn into Pac-Mania all over again, but with Tron. Here's the manual for Tron, Maze-a-Tron. They got the MCP staring at you. This is a pretty big selling point because seeing the MCP that large on the screen was pretty cool, and they included it in the manual. Nice. All right, so you scroll down. You are Flynn, the daring young programmer transported into the heart of the computer to find and disable the MCP. We're going to actually be in the fantasy world of Tron, or cyberspace. The game's played in rounds, and there's different difficulty levels, I think 1, 2, and 3. This manual, though, is incredibly long and intense, and kind of gives you a preview of what we're about to experience when we boot up the game. There's 2 different phases, the circuit maze phase and the MCP maze, if anyone actually gets to the MCP maze, because the circuit maze is auto-scrolling, and you have to find the different chips, I believe. Oh, find the RAM chips is how they refer to them here. If you got the RAM chips, you can clear them in 0 shortest time, and then move on to phase 2, but it's very, very random. This includes 4 different mazes. Each maze has a total of 38 sections. So it's a lot of places that you could be seeing in the game, but it's also very random of what's going to happen. I know, right? Yeah, I love all the comments in the chat. This one is a divisive game, so I'm pretty sure we might have both sides of the spectrum. Here's the controls after we slide the overlay over. We got 3 different difficulty levels. We have the fire and force field, and then we have your disc at the bottom to move around. Not as cool as using the disc to play discs of Tron, which we've already seen. Yeah, there it is. Use of the disc. Make sure you press the outside if you want to have a slight bit of movement for the gun. 8 different directions are possible here. And then there's our different speeds. Moving the disc gives you the fastest speed, and then you can use the number pad to select game speed 1, 2, or 3. And I think 3 is the slowest. There we go. After you select that mode, you can then go to practice mode. And if it has a practice mode, that's another kind of teller that this might be something a little different. I know, right? It's crazy, Mark, I know. All right, so you can do the practice mode if you want to, and it explains how the practice mode works on either screen, and I think we can, yeah, you can go directly to phase 2 if you want to just play the MCP, which means if you didn't get to see the MCP, you can do practice mode for it. Here's all the different components in the maze, and bear in mind this manual is 25 pages long. That is very extensive for a home console game. 25 pages, I don't know if I'm not going to go through everything, but you can see here it's going to break down all the things in the game. There's the recognizers, how to flip-flop the maze or change direction, the transformer, the force field to break through with a shield, the resistors, which really don't do anything, but then the ram chips. This breaks down the gameplay for phase 1, where you're supposed to go. You're essentially moving around a maze. It's a top-down maze game, but it auto-scrolls. How you move in the maze, you can't go through the green bus lines. They're like the walls of any of the mazes. You can flip the boards going back and forth. If you do step into the IO transport board, then you warp to a whole new maze, one of those 4 mazes I mentioned earlier. And we'll see that when we get in the game. If you succeed the maze, you can finally go through the force field, gather all the zeros, unlock the latches, avoid the recognizers using your shield, stay away from the zaps because it drains your energy, and you're going to use this energy to help you in the game using force fields and so forth. And avoid those green bus lines. Make sure you stay energized. You can use this to help you out to determine how strong your shield is. Approximate strength of your shield. And then this is your energy that you'll be using in the game. There's no display on the screen, but as you play, you're going to want to use as much or use as little energy as possible so you can survive to phase 2. And this shows you how to do the ram chips. Actually, when you get to the ram chips, if you're lucky enough, pick the right maze, then you have to go determine the puzzle by moving up at the top of the ram chip or the bottom of the ram chip to lock in those zeros or ones. You have to get everything to have the right number, and after you go through the ram chips, then you finally finish phase 1 and move on to phase 2 gameplay, where you're essentially a cursor that's moving around the screen, and you're supposed to blow the chips and match either side. It is an amazingly complex game, especially when you consider games on a home console. And bear in mind, we have not seen Indiana Jones on the Atari VCS yet. This one is tops for one of the most complicated games. They really went all out trying to do something beyond most people's comprehension for a console game. I'm just going to scroll through the manual so you can take notes and prepare yourself whenever we actually load the game up, going through all 25 pages. It's amazing. And to tell you the truth, most games on the Mattel Intellivision, we've seen this complexity since the beginning. They've made more complex video games, so it shouldn't be a surprise. Good luck, Flynn. Keep the stack intact. All right, we'll do our best. Here we go. Let's pop it and play Tron, Maze-a-Tron. This is by Russ Haft and Eric Wells. Published by Mattel Electronics. It's October 6th, 1982. Oh, there we go. We get the bass going in. This is our 5th Tron game, and it is across all categories the 4th game that Walt Disney has done. Imagine a world where there's only 4 Walt Disney games total. It just blows my mind. The sound also was done by Andy Sells. Way to go, Andy. All right, so I'm going to give you the first experience you'd ever have with Tron Maze-a-Tron. You ready? The first thing you're going to do, by the way, I don't have any previous experience with Tron Maze-a-Tron. This is all brand new. No nostalgia here. When you first boot this game up, whether you have the manual or not, most people move the disc. That just gets you in the game. So what you're going to do is you move the disc, and then it's going to have practice on the screen. You touch the disc again, and then you're in. Here is your first experience with Tron Maze-a-Tron. You're playing on the fastest difficulty, which means the auto scroll is moving. I'm moving around as very looks like the Intellivision man, and you're going to get trapped on the edges. See how I'm kind of bumping into the bus line here? And I do have my shield. If you figured out how to use the shield, you could stop the recognizer like that. And if you figured out that this switches the map out, you can see it went different directions. We're now going back the other direction. But the control with the disc is really cumbersome and really sloppy. And you're going to get stuck on the bus as you move. So the first time you play this game, you're most likely going to get stuck moving around, trying to get yourself. It feels a little bit clunky. And bear in mind, if you have the disc on the hand controller, it's going to be even clunkier. Let's stop that recognizer and just walk through them. Okay, good. So we're doing all right. We're running as fast as we can. And we're essentially playing an arcade maze game that's auto-scrolling. Very, very rare at this point. There's only 2 other games we've seen that are a maze game that is auto-scrolling. The other ones we played have scrolling freely. You can go wherever you want. But we're doing all right. So we didn't have such a terrible experience the first time, but we're not really accomplishing anything. So right now you're just having the fun of wandering around the maze while it's moving. and we haven't collected any more energy points. So we're slowly draining energy as we use our shield, and we're going to drain energy even faster if we touch those little fuzzy blobs on the bus. Doesn't it look good, though? The graphics look really good. It looks fun. This would be a great game to showcase in a magazine or for a kiosk. So it's like the game should be destined for something good. Oh, look what we did. Uh-oh, not good. When we wander around and boom. Oh, I love the sound, though. Sound is so nice. So you're essentially supposed to wander around this phase 1, finding the RAM chips. And we don't know exactly which maze that we're on out of the 4 mazes. We also don't know exactly how much energy we're using right now. What? How did I do? Did I not use the shield fast enough? I guess I did. So we've seen games already on the Intellivision and others on home consoles that are complex, but they usually play better. This one has a clunkiness to the movement and a complexity that is a little unnecessary. So also the randomness to it. Are we going to find a RAM chip? I don't know. Here you go. You can try to go up in here. There you go. There it is, the idle bus. Now, this is going to actually transport us. What it appears to be, we're scrolling to another part of the maze. No, we are actually going to a whole new maze, so we're playing one of those other 4 mazes that have been created. Let's go. And no, we reached the dead end again. This actually might be the same maze. I think it is. And dead. Darn, we're done again. All right, so it looks the part, it sounds the part. The gameplay, though, is lacking. Movement of the character is a little clunky. It has the wow factor. So if you're watching someone else play this, you'd be amazed. You'd probably buy the game. All right, let's lock that down, and then you can see here we got another area where we can re-energize. Can we go in? Yeah, this will help bring our shield up if you hang up inside, and give us a little bit more energy. All right, and then we got some of the padlocks here. No, I didn't get the shield up, and the recognizer got me. It kind of feels that way. We haven't seen Major Havoc in the arcades yet. I'm already seeing the chat throw it out. If you are familiar with this game and you did play or buy this whenever it was released, let me know if this was something enjoyable or if it was something that was clunky. For someone without the nostalgia factor, and of all the games we played so far on home consoles, it has too much complexity. We haven't played Indiana Jones on the Atari VCS yet, but it could have been simpler. It also could have played better, a little smoother, because as I'm moving around, I'm familiar with, Night Stalker and other games on the Intellivision where you're as this character with the pretty smooth animation, but it just doesn't feel very smooth. Plus, I already have complaints about the disc at the bottom. I'm a big fan of the Atari VCS joystick, and this one just doesn't play the same. So this chip down at the bottom, the blue one, is just something to ignore. Get away from that. Nope. Go, go, go. And then we can re-energize without getting stuck. Oh man, I'm right at the edge. I can't believe it. We're not going to make it. And remember, this is your first experience, which is using the disc going on the fastest speed. So it looks really good, but the gameplay, yeah, I'm already dead. So let's try this again. Now that you've read the manual, we'll pretend you've read the manual, and you have the overlay. Hey, there it is. There's the RAM chips. Love it. All right, let's go ahead and do game mode 3 this time. So I'm going to hit 3 on our pad, and we're going to say no practice. Now watch the speed difference. Much better. Now it's a little bit more easier to play the game now that it's slowed down. Yeah, we can use those transformers to recharge our shield when it runs out. And every second that we use that shield is running our energy down. I don't have enough in there, but I want to avoid this so we don't lose any energy. Just stay right there, Recognizer. Don't take me out. The only other auto-scrolling game we've played at this point was like Treasure Island in the arcade in 1981. That's a maze game, I should say, not just general auto-scrolling. And then we recently played Digger Bonk on the Atari home computer, but there's not a lot of arcade maze games that are auto-scrolling. It's rare. And the first time we've ever seen it on a home console. I know, right? You could find a set of modes that would work for you like this one when you know that to switch to the slower setting. and then make it work for you. But I do want to showcase what it's like when you actually get to the master control unit. So if you do figure out how to get to the RAM chips and then get the sequence correctly, then you can get the MCP. So I mean, just do a reset. And then we're going to go in now. This time I'm going to go with same thing, speed of 3, and then yes, I'm going to say practice. There it is. There's the MCP. Look at that. A giant face looking at you is so cool. And then it's kind of like we're playing a command shooter now, where you can see the bits are on either side, the left and right side of the MCP, and you're supposed to fire your shots to get them to line up and match with the edges. And again, it takes a little bit of practice to get used to, because when you get here, you don't really know exactly what to do or how to accomplish the goal. It's essentially like matching things up. But you also have to know when to shield yourself whenever he's firing those lasers off at you. But admittedly, this is graphically great. It sounds great. The gameplay, though, is where this is missing. There's a lot. I'd much rather prefer, if you're going to play Tron games, all the other ones we played so far. The arcade version, obviously, but then the disc of Tron, I want to play better than this one, and even the handheld one, more fun than this. But it is, wow, amazing to see all that on the screen. Of all the games you can play right now on a home console, it's divisive. I've already seen in the chat a 2.5 star. So think of everything that we played so far on home consoles. While it looks the part and has the sound, if you were to play it yourself, it really doesn't have the gameplay, and it is a little bit too complex. We're going to see another version of this later in November, and the version we played was essentially the later version. And this marks the very first time we played a video game that has pseudo-hacking in it. You know, us trying to go into cyberspace, that kind of thing. That's kind of cool. But I'd say of all the games so far, I already see, look at 3.5 stars, right? I know, right? You have to try it yourself to get the best experience, but I'm actually going to say subpar. The controls aren't very smooth, and the experience isn't very fun, because you're essentially just going to be wandering around the maze, and it's even if you read the manual, it would take a lot of practice to get used to the game. Yeah. Oh, man, it looks like Quantum Leaper played this one, giving it a 2-star rating. Man, yeah, 3 stars because of the way it looks. Yeah, it is very nice, but I'm going to go 2.5 of all the games right now you can play on any home console, not just Intellivision. All right, with that, let's press forward and see our next game. Coming up next is the IBM PC, and this is Attack. Just Attack, not to be confused with The Attack on the TI-99-4A. This one is only a couple screenshots, so let's pop in and play Attack on a PC in 1982. IBM did this one. It's October 7th, 1982, and I'm going by that, the rating that they have right there. So, I mean, take it or leave if that's the actual date it was released. This is also not to be confused with Attack that was in the arcade in the 70s. This marks our 114th game we've played on IBM PCs or PC-DOS, MS-DOS, any one of those. We have 114 games that we've already showcased. And of all the games that IBM has done, this is the 13th one we've played. All right, General Utility Program looks so fancy. Press spacebar to begin. Do we want instructions? Yes, we do. The very first game we saw on PC or MS-DOS, PC-DOS, was Donkey, August 12th, 1981. And that's how we already have played 114 games since then. Your mission is to attack and destroy the Apple computer manufacturing plant. You're allotted 35 bombs, 60 lasers. There are Apple-owned fighters trying to stop you, and you must destroy them with your lasers. If you get hit by them or destroyed, you'll be hit the ground, and you're destroyed. If you get out of the atmosphere, or the blue line, you lose all control, except lasers and bombs, and your ship will begin falling. This is awesome. So we're playing on an IBM home computer, and we're going to go blow up the Apple computer manufacturing plant? I know, right? I've never heard of this game, but that's got to be a friendly competition or not so friendly competition. All right, so we have the cursor keys to control, move up and down, left and right, fire bombs, drop bombs. Okay, it seems pretty standard, so no joystick, but we wouldn't expect that at this point. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's all done with ASCII. Oh, this is awesome. All right, where's my controls? Uh-oh, where is my controls? There it is. Wow, it had a little delay. Okay, I get the idea. There's my laser. I have a certain number of bombs, though. Wow, it is so clunky. This is really, really clunky. Sometimes it doesn't respond, or it takes a long time to respond. This has to have been thrown together just to be messed up with Apple. Wow. I can't believe it. That's barely responding. I really hope someone isn't just now tuning into Chronologically Gaming and expects all games from October 1982 to look like this, because it does not. No, we don't want instructions. I'm going to try it again. It felt like something was way wrong. Like it wasn't responding to the controls. Yeah. How weird. Whenever I think of games that have graphics in ASCII like this is how I expect them to respond. But home computers like the TRS-80 and some of the other ASCII-only graphics for video games we played have proven me wrong, but this one does not. This one is so bad. Oh yeah, this needs to be total fail. And yes, Apple wins. At this point, yeah, I'd say Apple would be the better computer anyway, especially if you don't want to pay like $5,000 for the computer to play this. Imagine if this is the game you had when your parents paid thousands of dollars. Yeah, it doesn't even work. No, it really is that bad. It is not responding, because we played this before, and I'm even not running this system on like actual 1982 processor and RAM. So we played other games on PC that they're working better, but yeah, there's something wrong with this one. It feels like it's just delay, laggy. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. We don't even get to see the base. I think that is the base. Is that it down there in the bottom? All right, I guess Apple wins. Apple is winning right now as far as the quality of video games across that home computer. So the attack is, wow. Obviously it was Scramble, if you didn't pick that one up. This is our 47th Scramble game we played here on the show, and it's the 476th shoot-'em-up, if you want to barely call that one a shoot-'em-up. For our auto-scrolling shoot-'em-up, it's our 80th, and this game is really bad. This goes in the contender for one of the baddest games we've ever played. Borderline broken, so it's way down there. I already see a 1-star for Manly. Yeah, I can't even stand it. So it's pretty much, it's not as bad as Ground Attack on the Commodore VIC-20, which was the contender for one of the worst, and it's worse than Red Alert on the Commodore VIC-20, and those are really bad. So if you want to see Red Alert or Ground Attack, check out the link for all the games we've ever played down below and see how bad those are, but this is worse. I'm going to say of all the games we played at this point, 1 star for the attack. It's broken. It's a broken game. And with that, let's press forward and see our next game, and our next game takes us to Japan. So let's see what's on the TV in Japan. There we go. Put the cartridges in. Yes, you'll be dancing just like that with your Epoch Cassette Vision. This is the latest game on the Epoch Cassette Vision, Monster Mansion. Let's check it out together. Starting with the box, and it's a big one because inside is the Cassette Vision cassette, which is cartridge to us, but to Japan considered called cassette. This is, like it says on the box, Cassette Vision cartridge number 8, and this is the 8th game we've played on the Epoch Cassette Vision. I really enjoy the front of the box. It's like the precursor to the NES Black Box series. It's the game. That's all it is. It's a picture of the game on the front, as well as another series of games on the BBC Micro where they just show a screenshot of the front of the box. It's awesome. I know, and we're going to see more hilariously weird commercials like that. All right, let's flip it over on the back. Monster Mansion gives us some screenshots. This is Donkey Kong-esque or Donkey Kong variant, showing off a few of the screens on the back and lots of excitement to see what's new on the Epoch Cassette Vision. Let's see what other artwork we have. Besides that, here is the cartridge we're going to pop into our Epoch Cassette Vision. The Cassette Vision is backwards considering all other consoles we've played at home. And that includes the Fairchild Channel F, which was the first one with interchangeable cartridges. This is not really a ROM cart. Even on home computers, they use ROM carts. This essentially has the transistor-to-transistor logic, or all the logic that would usually be on the console, but it's in this cartridge, so that the console would be cheaper. So the console's super cheap because it's like just you're buying a ROM, but then you put all of the system, which is in this cartridge, into it's backwards. It's wild and crazy stuff. And then flip it over the back, there it is. It's a really big cartridge, too, that you put in because it has everything. If you open up the whole thing, this is what you'll see on the inside sleeve of Monster Mansion. Exciting. And we also have the manual. Brush up on your Japanese and dive right in. It's going to introduce our characters. We're going to be playing as Taro-kun. There he is on the left as the blue character, and we're rescuing our girlfriend who is the pink character. Looks just like us. And there's the enemies we're going to be facing. Some demons, some devils, and then some obstacles to get out of the way. Thanks, Chiptune. And you see here, there's the Epoch Cassette Vision. The controls are pretty bizarre. We got a few switches, and then it's essentially meant to be a Pong game, or an interchangeable cartridge Pong console. That's how it started, because it was in the 70s when this first came out. And this does not play like that at all. So this is definitely punching the weight of this home console. This has 2 different game modes. It's single player only. If you look at the bottom, it has one game mode with 6 lives, or the more difficult one with only 3 lives, but you still play by yourself. Explains how to play the game, moving around Taro-kun, how to do jumping, and collecting different things like, oh, there it is, the crucifix. You can see right here, Taro-kun will pick up the cross, and it's essentially like the hammer in Donkey Kong and destroy everybody. So cool. So this is yet another Donkey Kong variant. Marks the 25th Donkey Kong variant we played across all categories. And there's the inside one. So this cannot be emulated. There's currently an emulator called the UPD777, and that one's a little sketch. And even if you get that one to run, there isn't Monster Mansion that's been dumped or been seen. So we're actually going to be showing footage of Monster Mansion. I will not be playing this one because it can't be played as an emulator. So here you go. This is by Epoch, and it's October 7th, 1982. And this is coming from Video Game Kraken. Thank you, Video Game Kraken, for the footage. This is what it's like when you boot up Monster Mansion. Oh, look at that. The sound and music comes in. We're playing on the mode that gives you 6 lives, and I would too. It's going to take a little bit to get used to the controls moving that knob around. But in the first game mode, you're going to be climbing ladders. You have to jump and grab the ladder. And every time you move up and down on the ladder, you change the ladder's colors. Kind of like changing the colors in one of the games like wiping or kicks, or like you're supposed to switch all the colors of the ladders. Then when you do, a new ladder appears. You can go climb that ladder. And the enemy at the top that's stolen your girlfriend is throwing down things to jump over, kind of like the barrels in Donkey Kong. It's so cool. Oh, is it Ganbat? Is that the name of the girlfriend you're rescuing? And then you go into the next screen, very similar, but now we have a few more things to collect. After you collect everything and then climb up the ladders, you're now having to face the demon that's chasing you around. That's the purple character at the bottom of the screen. And after you've collected everything and accomplished all changing colors of the ladders, then the ladder appears to go to the top level. But now we get the crucifix that we can blow them up. Yeah, graphically it does kind of look like Pickaxe Pete. It doesn't play the same though. Pickaxe Pete has a lot more maneuverability and a little bit smoother. This one's pretty clunky. It's a little bit better than when we played Yosaku, but Yosaku is... This one is an improvement, and this one is an amazement that they got this going on the Epoch Cassette Vision, a console that was designed only to play Pong games, and you're playing a Donkey Kong variant. It's awesome. It's fantastic. And of all the games we played, we call these arcade platformers, first started by Donkey Kong. This is the 46th arcade platformer we played. It's essentially a side view platformer, and you're jumping on one screen. That's arcade platformer. At this point, the worst of the worst, if you're thinking like this is clunky or bad, oh no, it is not. The worst arcade platformer is still Sir Egbert Jumper on the TRS-80 color computer. This one doesn't even come close. And then after that, we got Airlock, that was on the Atari VCS, King Kong on the Atari VCS, Donkey Kong's on Intellivision, and I would say this one plays better than all of those. And then after that, I would actually say Tax Avoiders would be a better game to play on the Atari VCS. And then Fast Eddie, Ape Craze on the Commodore 64, Donkey Kong on the Atari VCS, and then... Yeah, so I would say this one wouldn't play as good as... I would actually prefer Donkey Kong on the Atari VCS after this one. And that's also because you're playing with an Atari VCS joystick. This one, you have to bring the whole console, the Epoch Cassette Vision, to you, move the knobs and switches to play. Yeah, this would have been fun. Great, so I wouldn't call this bad at all. Of all the video games you could play right now on a home console. And this one is having to compete against all the other home consoles in North America, Atari, Magnavox Odyssey 2, and Mattel Intellivision, and so forth. And the really, really good ones like ColecoVision, and the obscure one like Creativision. Yes, take him out. I know, right? Since it's pushing so much weight, I want to rate it even higher than that. It's awesome. All right, there you go. There's a taste of Monster Mansion. Of all the games you can play right now on a home console, it has a lot to go up against because there's so many other games on other home consoles. It's still around the average range, considering all of those, but I'm still thinking about 2.5 to 3 stars. I look over in the chat, I see a 3-star. And if you had this system, and this was Japan, this would be tops for a home console game. The home computer range of video games in Japan is slowly coming up, but it's still not even at this level. This would still be a really good video game. Arcade in Japan would be the way to go. So looking over in the chat, I see a lot of 2.5s. Terrible graphics from Manly. I just love it. I love it. I'm actually going to go with 2.5 stars of all the games you could play right now on a home console. Very good for the Epoch Cassette Vision, but because of all the other games you could be playing, you can see how Japan is about right here. Just give them some time, though, and they're going to be pushing way above everything we got in North America. It's exciting. All right, it's time to put the video game playing on pause, or whatever you do on the Epoch Cassette Vision when it's time to stop the game. I guess just turn it off. Thanks so much for joining me trying to play every single video game in order of release. We're still in October 1982, and we got a long way to go before we finish the year. Lots more games to come, and even systems to be released before the Christmas holiday. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we welcome the newest member of the Pac-Man family. That's it for today, and like I always say, all that really matters is the game fun? Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play. Click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.